This is a follow-up to my Future of Gaming Consoles theory video. In that video I talked about what the evolution of our game boxes are going to be. And I talked about them going from this physical thing that connects to the TV to a tablet. And some people said that because of controllers or connecting it to the TV is why tablets would be like nothing but casual or whatnot. Well, you gotta think about what I mean by evolution. The perfect example, and I just read about this today because I think they unveiled it today, is something called the Razer Edge. Google this, YouTube it, there's demo videos of it. What the Razer Edge is, it's a Windows 8 tablet, and it's the Windows 8 Pro, not that RT crap. It's a Windows 8 Pro tablet, and there's two controllers on the side of it with physical buttons and analog sticks and traditional controls. That is what I was talking about. That's the perfect example of what I am meaning by the evolution of the game boxes. It'll just be something like that. And this Razer Edge thing, if you want to talk in terms of what it can do, this thing can play Crysis 3. So that's what I mean by the evolution of the game console. And the Wii U, if you think about it, is also that it's the transitional step. Because with the Wii U, you can actually play the game on the little touchscreen thing. Like, I was playing Super Mario Bros. Wii U, and I was able to look down at the tablet screen and play it from there. I wasn't even looking at the screen that the game was actually being projected on. So I think that it'll be something like that. There will be a device, and if you're worried about, I was gonna say, if you're worried about not being able to play, if the consoles turn into these tablet things. Oh, you okay, Noah? If you're worried about the tablets becoming these, if you're worried about the consoles becoming these tablet things and not being able to play it on your TV, more than likely there will be a wireless type of adapter that the console will send from the tablet screen to the bigger TV screen. So more than likely that's what's going to happen. But I want to talk about the software itself, the games. Whoa, hold on. You're screwing things up, you know that, right? Oh, he's being a playful little dog. You're screwing things up for me. You're really... This is the second time I had to do this because you completely derailed my train of thought. Oh, you silly little dog. Okay, the game software itself. We may totally forego physical media. The CD, which is pretty obsolete as it is now, may be completely gone. We may go back to a little cartridge type of thing, possibly, where like those little memory stick duo things that the PS Vita takes for its games, or like with the Nintendo DS cartridges, we might go to that. Or it just may become an all digital service, where we're just going to download digital games. I am not a fan of that, but I could see it happening. Because I won't be able to buy my games used anymore if it goes all digital. I won't be able to trade it in towards credit to get a new game because it's digital. I heard that Steam is actually going to try and do something like that. It was like been in the talks where like you could trade in your digital games for a credit towards another game, which I think the way that would work is it would just eliminate it from your library entirely, and then you'd be able to put that like probably percentage of the original cost towards a new game or games plural, whichever you want to go with. I'm not a fan of them going all digital, especially for people like me who live out in the boonies and you could really only get DSL. And so if I wanted to download a game and it was like 8-10 gigs, that's going to take a couple of days on my connection. I also kind of see them trying to go towards a more free-to-play model, which I'm not a fan of either, but it's an extremely lucrative business, especially for like cell phone games, where you can just nickel and dime people for in-game currency so they could buy the upgrades instead of waiting to unlock them later. But also, I could see the free-to-play bringing in more people who normally wouldn't play. Like when Star Wars The Old Republic, Terra, DC Universe Online, those went free-to-play as well. And they saw a bigger boom in player base because they went free-to-play. I'm honestly waiting for World of Warcraft to go free-to-play. I know it's free-to-play up to level 20, but more like what the other games are doing nowadays. But because people are willing to pay Blizzard $15 a month, there's really no reason for them to go free to play. But the worst, the bad thing that this will come out of this is when they decide to charge $60 for the full game, but still nickel and dime you for little things like weapons or ammunition. Essentially, like, the best example of what I'm talking about, and this is on the worst end of the spectrum, is the War Z. They charge you $15 for a game and then nickel and dime you if you want to get upgrades, food, weapons, ammunition, clothes. And the thing is, that stuff that you bought, if it was on your character and your character dies, guess what? All that stuff that you bought is gone. That's the worst example. I think the best example would be if they had the games to be cheap for an initial download, but gave you a ton of stuff, but other extra stuff, like stuff that's really overpowered, would be the more would be the stuff that they would charge you for. Kind of like you know, when you see the advertisement for a game on TV, and they say, oh, reserve it at GameStop and get this exclusive GameStop DLC, or if you or wherever you reserve it, it's got a special exclusive type of downloadable content for doing it there. I can see them kind of shifting that from, it's like, okay, you buy the game and you get this exclusive content for downloading it. I could see that. But but another bad example of them doing this free-to-play kind of thing, but charging you at the same time, would be Dead Space 3. From what I heard, I think some executive at EA or whatever, I don't know who publishes Dead Space 3. They had said something along the lines of that because gamers are so used to these tablet and cell phone games where they do microtransactions, that's what they're expecting and that's what they want. Well, that's the bad way to look at it, because he's leaving off the fact that not only are people not paying for these free-to-play games, that's the initial reason why they got it in the first place. They didn't have to pay for it, and they could play it to the fullest extent. They can earn all that little stuff, all those little coins and whatnot through regular gameplay and not have to worry about buying them. While in Dead Space 3, they have you buy the game initially, but then they'll nickel and dime you for stuff that's, I think, exclusive to it. I'm not 100% positive. I haven't played Dead Space 3. But I heard that a lot of people were railing against it. There's a Penny Arcade about it where they're essentially criticizing their EA's decision for doing what they did with Dead Space 3. But I also think that the graphics are going to get to that point where it's photorealistic, as if you will not be able to tell if it's a real person or a 3D model, kind of like how Beowulf was, Final Fantasy Advent Children, Avatar. Well, the graphics will get that good. But yeah, I do think that at some point they're going to try to enlist that free-to-play type of ordeal where they'll probably do an initial charge, but then charge for microtransactions. And the thing is, I know that there's people right now that are saying, no, I don't want that to happen, and whatnot. And it's like, oh, that's not going to happen, or I don't want that to happen, I would hate for that to happen. Here's the thing. And this is probably a rant for a video at a later time, and I'll expand upon it later. The game publishers and developers know that gamers are suckers. They know that regardless of what the gamers will cry out against, they'll still buy it. like one of the examples that I've always railed against was Call of Duty, and how it's always just a copy and paste of its last one, and it's basically a map and weapons pack that Activision shoves out for $60, and people just go out and gobble it up like it was government like a poor person gobbles up government cheese. Regardless of how much that the game really hasn't changed except for additional maps and weapons. It's like, you know, they could have done this in like a $10 DLC, but yet they decide to put it on a disc and put it on the shelves for $60 because they know that gamers who love the previous one will go out and buy it. That's a rant for another time, and probably will maybe be the next one in a couple days if I decide to do it. But another thing that we'll probably see is we'll still see like these main franchises that are out there. We'll still see Call of Duty. We'll still see Halo. We'll still see Sonic, Mario, and whatnot. We're still going to see those until one day whoever developed a game for it or whoever published it releases a really bad game and essentially kills off the franchise, like how Earthworm Jim 3D killed off its franchise, how Bubsy 3D killed off its franchise, how Sonic 2006 nearly killed the Sonic franchise. Until something like that happens, and then the franchise will just be gone because no one will ever trust them again. Ow. Stop biting me, Noah. So, yeah, we'll still see games like Metal Gear Solid. They'll still continue that. They may introduce newer characters who will take over the roles. Somehow in Metal Gear Rising? Yeah, Metal Gear Rising, how it's all about Raiden or however his name is pronounced. How he's essentially the main character as opposed to Solid Snake. Or Old Snake now. But yeah, that's all that I really wanted to talk about, was how I think the future of game software is going to be. I think it's going to go to a more, we're going to move from CDs to maybe back to a cartridge-based platform or all digital downloads. I think that they're going to try and adapt a more free-to-play type of model, which I really don't want them to do, but I could see them doing that just out of corporate greed. The graphics are going to get to a point where it's photorealistic. And I want to say this too. When I played Metal Gear Solid 4: Guns of the Patriots, there was and I played this on standard definition TV, on a standard definition TV. I looked at some of it. It's like, man, some of that looks like it's real. Like I could reach out and touch it. But I really think that's how the future of gaming is going to go. Oh, and we're going to see essentially the same stuff, just with maybe a slightly different story. And we're going to see the same franchises continue to go until that one bad game is released and kills off its franchise. But that's all that I really wanted to talk about on what I think. Ow! I know, you want to play. You want to play. No, stop. Noah, stop it. Shh. Calm down. You're screwing up this video. Yes, you are. You are screwing it up. You are paw-edly screwing up this video. Just calm down. Calm down. He wants to play. But, yeah, if I've repeated myself several times throughout this video, you can blame him for just derailing my train of thought. But,